Okay, so on this one we got a 2008 FX35 Infiniti. It's a 3.5 liter. Came in and I guess the guy was saying that it was running really poorly going up a hill, had all the lights on. Did a quick code scan. Wasn't running that rough right now at idle, and all we really got was the P0302 cylinder 2 Misfire. These Nissans, they give you nothing useful in the scan tool. There's no misfire monitors, none of that sort of stuff. So I was just going to go straight after cylinder 2, but then I went to move it, and it's kind of a bad sign. Let's fire this thing up, and then we'll quickly run around back. That's a lot of smoke. I don't know if you can see that spewing through. That's not a good sign. But we will pull a spark plug anyways, and we'll see what we see. Maybe drop the pressure transducer in there and see what a waveform looks like. Okay, so I'll try to deal with the glare as best as possible. Might be a losing battle. So on these guys here, cylinder 2 is this one right here in the front. Might be a little hard to see. We'll see in a second. The coil is right there. It's not too hard to get to. You got to pull this whole intake stuff off. On these Nissans, it's best to try not to remove that in pieces and just take the whole thing off. What I'll do is I'll remove this clamp. There's a bolt right there. I'll remove this, and then remove that clamp right there, and I take the whole thing off. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take off the mass airflow sensor connector rather than this. Take this bolt off that's already off, and I'll just disconnect right here and just take everything up and out of the way. So there's a little peg right there. I pulled out the zap strap that held that down. I got this loose, and that clamp up there is loose. So now what we do is I'll just kind of pull this. Might be really hard to do this one-handed. No. Helps if we get the bottom clip out. I can't see anything with this glare. You probably can't see anything in there. Okay, so that's better. There are 4 clips. So there's 2 at the top, 1 down there, one other one down there. Let's try getting them all out. And you fight with it, but it does come. Come on. It really does take 2 hands, and then come on. Oh, that's all caught up in there. Yeah, I'm gonna need another hand. Okay, so as you can see, we got it out. You just kind of have to really work the flex joint, cause that to try and compress as much as possible. And you just grab one end, kind of pull it, help this back, and yeah, you fight with it. But I found that when you try and take this off in pieces, you run the risk of breaking them. Also, when you have these, check these boots, because on the Nissans, they rip all the time. Right on the underside. Oh, look at all that oil from all those blow-by. And then when you spread that, you will see rips. Well, this is interesting. I go to undo the connector, and that's not very tight. This hold-down bolt is loose as a goose. If a goose was loose. Someone's been here before, and if I'm not mistaken, that looks like a shiny new coil. I think someone's aware of this problem and tried putting a coil in there, and the coil didn't fix the oil leak. Go figure. Or the oil consumption, I mean. Yeah. Where's my oil going? Straight out the tailpipe. There's your leak. Yeah, so we'll pull that out, yank out that. We'll look at the spark plug, see what that looks like. I'm sure that will be a mess. And that is what we expected. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. And then upon further inspection, there's all kinds of evidence of people being here. This coil, that coil, is very new. And then what do we have there? A broken bolt on a Nissan? Ha! That's never happened before. Alrighty, so I guess before we throw a pressure transducer down there, I'm gonna see if I can get my boroscope down there. I think the piston's relatively low, so I'll get the boroscope down there and see if I can see anything juicy. Okay, and I'll attempt to record this part. I never seem to have very much luck, and I kind of need a new wand for this guy. But there you go. That's the top of the piston. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. Now change that to side view. Get a better look. See. And oh, I hope I didn't put. Yeah. Pretty gross. Oh, that's nasty. That there would be an intake valve. Come on, if I can twist this thing. Yeah, it's pretty gross. So what is I don't know if it's worth going down and looking at another hole, or if it's even worth cranking or rotating the engine over, trying to get that valve to open, to try and see if it's just a guide, or if it's a the valve stem seal. At this point, I don't think it really makes that much difference. Either way, you kind of have to pull ahead. I guess you can change valve stem seals without pulling the head, but it's a pain in the butt. I don't know if we would be doing that anytime soon, because we're just way too busy, and I don't know if this guy wants to put that kind of work into it, because when you see stuff like this, at minimum you're looking at pulling ahead. With the way that this looks, I think that's all coming from the valves, so I would have to assume, I could compare this to another cylinder. I'd have to assume that's not blow by, going past the rings. Ugh. But what do you do? There's no easy fix for this stuff. Hopefully some of that you can see. Is it any better down there? Nope. Side. Back to the side view. Maybe if we get the light off. No, that doesn't really make it better or worse. Looks like I need new batteries. Okay, so the exhaust valves are open right now, so if we were to rotate that another 100 or so degrees of the crank, probably last, 100 degrees of the crank, maybe 180, then we should see the intakes open all the way. But yeah, that is gross. Well, I didn't want to quite button it up yet with all the pain it was to take that intake hose off without taking a peek down another cylinder, and it's much the same. So I was going to say before, you know, if it was only a single cylinder, then maybe we could look at some options, but yeah, this is so gross. The guy's basically looking at an engine at this point. Yeah, I don't even want to try and attempt to see if it's just a valve stem seal or any of that sort of business, because of course when we pulled the other plug off, now the valve cover seal is leaking a little bit, so there's a little bit of oil in the hole, but you can see all that junk, right? That's not just a matter of a valve cover leak. And then of course this crush washer came off, and I don't know if you can see those threads, but we were kind of humming along with the boss about what this guy kind of wanted to do. What sort of level was he willing to go into it? You know, do we want to go any further? Do we want to open up the valves, or rotate the engine to get that valve open to see if we can see, is it coming directly from the valve, or is it, where is it all coming from? Like, what are you dealing with? And then he said, well, you know what, let's just button it up and we'll talk to the customer and address all that sort of stuff later. So I was doing that, and it just bothered me, you know, being right there. Let's pull another spark plug. Oh God, I wish I didn't. Those threads are pretty sharp. This is a set of plugs. I don't think this one's going back in very nicely, because I don't think it went in very nicely to begin with. Oh God. I hope it threads in, and I hope it gets tight, and I hope it seals combustion. I don't want this thing to be leaking. The last thing we want to do is frickin' Healy coil ahead just to get a guy, you know, a few more weeks out of an engine, one that's frickin' blowing oil like Zixon. Yeah. Sometimes you lose when you try to do that little extra bit. Anyways, I will try and get that down, and I'll try and thread that back in the hole. That sucks. Okay, so the safer thing to do at this point is we're just going to order in a new plug. We'll put a new plug in this hole. This will be number 4, and be done with it. Because yeah, I don't feel good putting this guy back in. And we're just going to cross our fingers, hoping that it goes in. But yeah, at this point, that's about all you can do. This motor's done. You know, going any further, trying to do any kind of repair, especially when you see stuff like this, you're asking for trouble. You're just asking to own the thing. So, that's about all we can do. I was kind of hoping for something a little more exciting, a little less anticlimactic than this. But hey, you know what? This is what we deal with on a regular basis. Okay, so we got our replacement plug, and oh, it feels gross. I do remember it coming out a little gross at the end, so I definitely have that in a few threads. Come on, dropping stuff everywhere. So we want to use the little hand ratchet, and we're gonna go the whole way with this and just do a little bit of hoping and a little bit of praying. It feels pretty gross, but it's going, and it doesn't feel to be binding up, so we're just gonna hope that it can go down the whole way. If I can do it, the whole thing with just this hand ratchet, that would be a good sign. Having to put a fair amount of force in it for just this little palm guy, but I'm still able to rotate it, and it's not getting any worse. So that's a good sign. Now it's starting to get a little tight, so I don't think I'm down all the way. So I'll go to the big one and just hope for the best. Or big ratchet, I mean. Wait, maybe I can prop you like that. Maybe you can kind of see a little bit. So when we got the big ratchet, or a normal size ratchet, it's just 3/8. Name of the game is slow and smooth. You don't want to jerk it. You want to feel it the whole way. Support the head and just slow and smooth. Not applying any more force, just even force. It is definitely gross, but it's going down. Yeah, you definitely don't want to use an impact for this. You want to be able to feel it, you want to be able to stop if, well, yeah, motor's done anyways, but you'd like this thing to be able to be drivable out of here, even if you give a smoke show to everyone else. Should start getting pretty close now, I think. And they do have a lot of threads. Anytime. Come on. Come on. Of course, I am only doing quarter strokes each time. Oh, what's that? I think we're just about there. And we don't want to over torque it and pull the rest of the threads. We just want to make sure we are actually down. So I don't know if you probably can't see this at the moment, but I've literally just got a single finger hooked on the end of this ratchet, and all I'm pulling with is just the finger. Perfect. Good with that. Well, I think we have success. Now we just throw the rest of it together and tell the customer the good news, or bad news. But at least they can drive it out. Okay, so we got her all back together. So now we just fire it up and watch the smoke show again. And do we see anything yet? Oh, it's coming out this side. I don't know if that's showing. There we go. That should show a little bit on there. Yeah, it's pretty gross. That's a lot of oil. That's a lot. Well, that would be the extent of this guy. I doubt we'll be putting a motor in this anytime soon. We're just too busy with trannies right now. And of course, stuff like that. And a Challenger too. Check your ball joints. Yeah. Yeah, so this is probably gonna be all that we see of this guy. Anyways, sorry it couldn't have been more exciting, but we got to see a little bit of carnage. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.